This is Lord of the War of the Ring, and we are watching Game 2 of the 2013 War of the Ring International Online Tournament. So in this second game, we have Andrew Poulter. I corrected your name pronunciation. Gamesjart, and he is playing Helios, or also known as Dan Wiseman. So in this second game here, Andrew will take the Free Peoples, and Dan is taking the Shadow player, and G is Andrew, or Gamesjart in the chat, and H is Helios or Dan Wiseman. So right off the bat, Andrew picked up Faramir's Rangers and Wizard's Staff, two excellent cards to get at the beginning of the game. And Helios has picked up Rage of the Dunlendings and Morgul Wound. So let's see how this plays out. So Gamesjart keeps Gandalf as the guide. Slow this down a little. Isengard goes to war. And now Sauron goes to war. Starting with a classic Fellowship move. And ouch. Nice start for the Shadow. And it's an eye. So a brutal start for Andrew at the beginning here. And it'll be revealed in the Fords of Bruinen. And maybe some cards here. Yep, Morgul Wound. And right away the Fellowship is going to go up to 3 corruption. Just after the first die has been played. Flips the Fellowship. And we've got the Southrons and Easterlings moving down. Lots of musters this round for Helios, and Andrew is going to use the ring to move one more time, I believe. And a miss, sorely needed by Andrew. And Dan's going to bring in Saruman. As I was going over the pronunciations for the different regions in the last video, I realized that Gandalf should actually be Gondalf, which just seems wrong, seems kind of weird. And Andrew ends his turn by moving down the elves. And Dan is going to consolidate his power in Mordor. Pretty good typical first round. Very unlucky roll for the Fellowship. Andrew draws there and back again, and Grimbeorn, which was a card that came out early last game as well. Meanwhile, Dan got Orc Patrol and Return of the Witch King. Wow. This is going to be interesting. So Andrew rolled basically all musters. Tough roll to get early, but you never know. See what happens. Orc Patrol gets a 3 tile, and right away Gandalf is gone. And the first muster is going to move Gondor down. And it appears as if Dan is moving north. That can be a big tell what the player does here if they move into Minas Morgul or Morannon. You can often tell where they're headed. And then the elves are down 1 as well on the political track. And Dol Guldur is moving north. Sorry, Dol Guldur. And is blocked by Andrew at Old Forest Road and Dale. So really trying to put up some defense there. You usually don't see the troops move from Dale to the Old Forest Road, so we'll see how this happens, how this plays out. And Scouts is going to allow him to get into the Woodland Realm, so it's probably a pretty good move on his part to bring the horses from Dale. Oh, and sorry, I missed that Dan played Swarm of Bats, which negates Scouts. Yeah, definitely a big gamble there. Moving away from Dale, so Dale's going to be easy now. And it might take the North a little bit longer to get down to war. We'll see. We'll see what Dan does. He might not take Dale at all. But now that Andrew's moved the North down to just before war, then it might make more sense to just take over the North. So I guess the benefit there for Andrew is the elves in the North and Gondor are all very ready as soon as things go down. Book of Masarbul, I believe, and Bilbo's Song, and Dan, musterings of a long-planned war, and give it to us. Moving that fellowship. He's safe. And Dan's getting calls from Hollywood again. And Dan's using the voice of Saruman to muster in each Isengard region. And moving the fellowship again. And that's a hit. And another reveal. So now Andrew has to decide whether to go through the High Pass route or Moria. And he's going to go through Moria, which is going to lead to another hunt tile here. Ouch, and an eye tile. I guess in this case, since he's already revealed, it's not so bad getting another revealed tile out of the pool. So that's a move you will sometimes see is moving the Isengard units north into Moria to join an attack on Lorien or perhaps Rivendell in the north. And they are going after Lorien. So that's one option I actually sometimes forget about, is that there is that connection between Moria and North Dunland. Sometimes I often think of just bringing them down and going after Rohan, but often the better move can be swinging them up and around to Lorien. All right, the elves are at war now. And Woodland Realm is going to go under siege. Oh. Andrew did think about the field battle, but thought better of it when he saw the troll. (2013) lag. And steadily moving, consolidating the armies, just moving that single regular westward from Dol Guldur. And using a ring to move the fellowship 3 times, quite a bit, but there's only 1 die in the box, so. And here we go, another hit. And yeah, it's rough times for the fellowship here. And in Parth Celebrant, they're revealed. And Dan's going to be able to move some armies there to harass the fellowship. But first he's going to muster the Witch King now that the elves are at war. And now everyone's getting crazy, getting worried, and they're going to get activated. I'd prepare for war if I saw the Witch King. It is funny too that it takes the Witch King for everyone to freak out. Sauron wasn't bad enough. Peace in our time, you know. All right, and turn 4 coming up now. Flux of Crebain, I believe, and Horde from the east. Meanwhile, Andrew draws Shield of Dol Amroth and Athelas. Your eyes go to the hunt, and now I got a bunch of characters to balance out that round of all musters. Strider hides the fellowship in Parth Celebrant. So really, the corruption is quite high for this stage in the game. So Andrew's going to have to figure out a way to mitigate that. Either move fast or heal in Minas Tirith, possibly. Then that other big army is going to go assist the taking of the Dew line. Fellowship moving. Reroll from the army that is there. And a miss. Interesting choice here. Dan really hasn't been moving his Nazgul around to harass the Fellowship or moving them with his armies. So we'll see if he changes that. Flux of Krebain is on the table. And Woodland Realm is going to get beefed up here with a force in reserve and Old Forest Road. So notice that Dan is specifically avoiding an attack on the north in order to make sure that it's not at war. So he's going to take down all the elves first, hopefully, and then go after the north and the dwarves. Three hits there. Oh, but I guess shield wall cancels. One hit. And Andy's got 0. Which king draws? Olog High. And that's going to help, especially for armies that are far from any muster zone or muster settlement. It's going to help against Erebor, likely. And looks like Woodland Realm is going to fall. Goes out with the Blaze of Glory. And Dan is now at 2 victory points. Uses the ring for one more army movement. And he is going to now take over the north. North is now at war, but really can't do anything on the eastern half of the board. Yes, it would have definitely made a difference if Andrew could have retreated his army into the Woodland Realm, his northern army. Definitely a good play if you've got scouts to consider. And Hunt Tile. It's 7 corruption now. Yikes, not looking great for the Fellowship at this point. And Dan's going to attack Erebor. So the dew line fell very rapidly in this game. And last game, it actually got retaken, but it really doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility this time round. Ouch, and on the reroll, Andy got hit. So he does a random draw and got Pippin. And now corruption's at 9. And Pippin's going to go into Fangor. Olog High. Into Lorien. I guess I was wrong. not really needed in Erebor at this point. Or maybe he did put it into Erebor. Not totally sure where he put that elite. Draws the ring is mine. So Dan mistakenly tried to muster his Oleg High into Lorien with the muster die, but needed an army die, so instead he decided to use the Voice of Saruman. And at the end of the turn, Andrew draws Thranduil's archers and Ensawik horns. And Dan draws the ring is mine, and orcs multiplying again. And Andrew declares in Minas Tirith, hopefully getting some healing points there. And the first Will of the West of the game is rolled. So he'll finally get a chance to play Gandalf. So
A
here,
wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
And Gandalf again in this game will be in Fangorn. Meanwhile, Dan is attacking Erebor. Deadly Strife versus Valor. Dan rolls 4 actually, sorry. Pay attention to the cards. So 4 versus 3 hits. Definitely a bloodbath, and the dwarves are almost finished. Not looking good in the northeastern corner of the board for Andy. No more elites though, so let's see if he can last one more round. Pretty unlikely. Great host. And there it is. Dane or Dane, not sure how you would say it. He goes down without too much of a fight, but he's still got the Iron Hills. And the dwarves should be at war by now, I imagine. And Dan goes up to 5 victory points. Oh, and the dwarves are retaking Dale. Usually the Easterlings attack that dwarf, so that you don't see that very often. Yes, so the move from Iron Hills to Dale will stand. And here we go. Andrew is switching up tempo and going for a possible military victory. Kind of has to try something else at this point. Going for Angmar. And the last dwarf, apart from Ered Luin on the west side. And the dwarves have been eliminated from the eastern half of the board. barring any revival in the Iron Hills. But Andrew doesn't have any muster dice left. And the last of the rings is going to be used, and he is indeed going to muster in the Iron Hills. Putting up one last fight might be worth it, since there are only three units in that army, so it's got to be a little concerning for Dan. And he is going to go for it and take out the dwarves once and for all. It was a worth a shot, but it does look like yes, it is a victory for Sauron. Not too much he can do. Perhaps he can make a run at Dol Guldur, but he's pretty far, and no more dice to do that. Yes, and that's usually a common move, is to take out that lone dwarf before you attack Erebor. For that reason, both Carrick and Iron Hills can be a thorn in the shadow player's side if they're not taken before going after the dew line. And now we're shifting gears to the middle of the board. Now it's all Lorien. Turn to Valinor might have been an interesting card to play, but he decides to use it for the combat card. And yes, things definitely looking bleak for the Free Peoples at this point. Maybe a miracle will happen. Athelas. Okay, and he gets 3 corruption taken down, so there's your miracle, right on schedule. And a few more turns in Minas Tirith. Fellowship might have a fighting chance. Powerful stuff indeed. But the orcs in Lorien just got pedicures so they can march further, and manicures, and they are feeling a lot more powerful. So not too much of a chance there. So Dan's going to draw a Nazgul Strike and Pits of Mordor, and Andy's got a Power 2 Great, which could help him at this moment, and Smeagol helps Ice Master. I guess it would be Smeagol. I don't know if Smeagol is Sindarin or not, but again, the names are just so strange, and I wonder what Tolkien would have said about our pronunciations of the characters. interesting to think about. And yes, power 2 great gets played. And this is going to force Dan to discard an action die and a card, which is usually the best move. Yeah, you can't let that card remain typically. And now Strider is going to be crowned. I don't believe Dan has Day Without Dawn, so he is going to get away with it. And he takes a drink, deal with the sorrows of the bad fellowship rolling. And sneaky little Saruman has been building up slowly, and it's time. Or maybe it's not. But now Andy is aware that it is a risk. And he is going for it. Saruman's definitely a fickle kind of guy. You never know what he's going to do next. Very unpredictable. So here we go. And gets those 2 important hits. Those units can be quite annoying if they survive and get back to Helm's Deep, but it's going to be quite a bit easier now. That's something to think about is if you're attacking the fords of Eisen, or if you're attacking Osgiliath, it's really important to take them out because they can retreat to unfortunate places and really make it difficult for you. That you could retreat to the Gap of Rohan and take Orthanc. Less common, or you could retreat to either of the Ethelians and go after Mordor. So, oh, and here we go. The Ents card was played, and bye-bye Saruman. So it looks like Andy did decide to forego crowning Strider. Yeah, so he decided to take away a die rather than to add one. Interesting choice. And Helm's Deep. Going to be a pretty short battle. Yep, there we go. Quite a bit different from the lone Lorien defender last game. And Dan moves to 7 points. Rohan's at war. A little late to the party. But Rohan is going to play some defense here. Now starting to move towards Gondor, possibly getting a little concerned about Strider. Becoming Aragorn. And Andy does take Angmar. Perhaps is eyeing Moria somewhat, and could be why Dan left a unit in Dimril Dale just in case he decided to go for Moria. So this is a case where Faramir's Rangers really didn't do that much to help, simply because Sauron didn't go after Gondor at all. Well, Lorien's been doing pretty well in the last 2 games. Definitely surviving. See if it can survive one more round. And it gets 1 hit. No cigar. No cigars for the orcs, not quite. They'll have all the pipeweed they want in a few minutes. And now it's 4-1 in terms of army units in Lorien. Three fives, and he's got 1 reroll. There it is. And now Dan is within 1. Really closing in on that victory. Next round may be the last. But he is going to go for Pelargir. And it's possible that this is actually the last battle. So let's see. Forgot that he had the ring, so. And he gets a lucky first hit. Usually doesn't happen. Oh, and I guess with Mumakil, it's a hit right away. Lightning victory, blitzkrieg there by Dan, all over the board, concentrating on the northeast. Yeah, so I guess let's take a look at the statistics. So if we look at the just the regular dice, 3 extra musters by Andrew, and over here -5 over here. Actually, I need to check what the difference between M and H is. I think is H helmet, and then M is like the army muster die. I have to double check that. But let's take a look at the dice here. So certainly Dan did get a little bit lucky with +4 on his 6s. Meanwhile, though, Andrew did get +2 on with 5, so it wasn't too much of a difference here. Pretty average rolling. It looks like nothing crazy. Like last game, there was like a +13, I believe. So very quick game here. Yeah, Dan definitely went hard at the dew line. If you notice, he used forces from Mordor, which is a very common. It seems pretty far away, but actually you can get them up there pretty quick using Dol Guldur as well. So really pushing the Sauron forces up north here. And Andy really just getting quite unlucky with the fellowship rolls, and not being able to put up a defense. And the gambit here really did um, make it easier to take Woodland Realm. If the gambit had succeeded, perhaps it would have given him a little bit more time. But yeah, definitely a firm shadow victory here, and we will see what happens in game 3. All right, War of the Ring out.